Interview with Mildred Colantuonoc by Mark McCullough, conducted on March 26, 1985 at 61 Moulton Street, Newton, Mass. This interview is conducted as part of the Oral History Project for the public history class taught at Boston College and Newton Free Library of Newton, Massachusetts. The general subject area we will be covering is life in the town of Newton in the years 1920 to 1950. All right, well, what we were talking about before, all the changes and what it was like between 1920 and 1950. You were expressing a lot of concern about the changes. And what I'd like to know is, when you, around 1920s decade, was it, before all the changes happened, how did you deal with that?
She lived here that time. See, I didn't move in until 1940, so that, and you say from 1920 to 1950, so that only leaves 10 years in between. So she can tell you more about what it was like.
Well,
Well, they say that the whole way
describe
was taken out.
What was here, yeah.
The city was a city.
Was it much smaller and more homogeneous? Was it?
Who took the house, Kinjaska's house? The city or state?
What house?
Kinjaska's house.
Oh, redevelopment took it. Well, that was just, was it the state or the city? Redevelopment Authority, what did that come under?
How did it come out?
Probably the state.
State.
I think it's state, that's what I understand. The state
Yeah.
that took the house.
But they called it Newton Redevelopment Authority.
Yeah.
They didn't call it Boston Redevelopment Authority.
You know, the houses was set.
Well, they came into the city, and they issued all these, like they did, well, they had meetings. I think they had meetings with the Improvement Association before they finally okayed this and stepped in. That the Improvement Association is a neighborhood group, and they evidently were told what they were going to, what they intended to do back here.
What they developed, redevelopments?
Yes.
All right.
And that land was for 7 years.
Huh?
There was fighting for 7 years.
Sure, 7 or 8 years
There was
fighting.
Selling different person and fighting and meetings and fight for 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, because you were there during that time, was the town it was much smaller?
Well, the town, it's not.
It wasn't
It
small.
wasn't
No.
smaller. Well, less houses and more buildings
More
all around
houses,
us.
more residential houses.
Yes.
See, now they have these office buildings. Well, they used to have along Washington Street, they used to have a row of houses. Remember?
I remember it
All the way down from Belmore Park, there were houses
that
came down here.
Was it very close-knit community? Was it?
It was close.
Did you know people?
Oh yes, they knew. They knew. You all knew each other, didn't you?
Not many.
No.
No.
Well, I know when I moved here, this street was, well, I was the last, these two houses were the last houses on this street when I moved here. The house next door wasn't, that ski lodge next door wasn't there. But the rest of the houses were here, and that's as far as it went. And then the rest was all vacant land, all the way down to, across 128, up to where Holiday Evenings, across the street from Woodland. That was all vacant land in back here. There were no more houses except down on Grove Street. You know Grove Street?
The one we just came up with.
Yeah. There were houses all along Grove Street. In fact, there were houses down there beyond where the ramp goes into 128. There were houses all the way along there, and those were all taken by eminent domain for 128. Because when I split the the whole thing. Of course, that doesn't have anything to do with yours. Because that wouldn't be nice. That was before 1920.
Well, that's
You know,
still...
when they divided Lower Falls.
When did the road go in? When did
128 go in there?
I think it's in 1940, 48.
Oh no, before that.
1940s.
No, yeah, that's right, you're right. Because when I first moved here, I could come from the MTA station. I could come up, and I didn't have to go down Grove Street. I could come right across and come up Moulton Street. Of course, it was a dead end down there. Moulton Street was a dead end. And now, of course, it's a cul-de-sac. But I used to come across where 128 is, get off the bus down there, and walk up here. Because now we'll have to cut me all off, too.
That's what I said. It's very hard.
All right, during when you were here, you're 20. Were you here in 27? 28. Were you? Did you go to school here?
Yeah. No.
So you just you work?
I was working in a little plastic factory in Lower Falls. On the other side, Charles River.
And did you work across the bridge?
Yes, there's a little plastic factory.
Because there was a wool scouring mill there.
I was working there too, a little bit.
And then there was the...
Then there was a plastic, there is a plastic they call Bakelite. It's a heavy stuff it was making.
big light, it's like a plastic, you know.
Just was heavy.
Yeah.
I
And
was
then,
working 20, part-time, 27 years.
then there was also behind on Concord, St. Mary's Street, you remember? What was his name? That had the plastic. Behind his house, he had.
I don't remember on Concord Street anything.
Well, he moved across the river.
Oh,
This man that
Gullickson?
Gullickson.
Gullickson?
Yeah.
Well, he had a little shop on St. Mary's Street.
On St. Mary's Street, behind his house.
Yes.
Yeah,
Then he bought that little stone building
Across the river.
across the river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where I was working there for 27 years.
Did a lot of people from this area work with you?
Well, who was working with me? It's Larry gone and Larry to move out. Because they was coming like from Needham and Walton. And I think I was the only one. Or Morrison, and Morrison was working
Yeah.
with me from Lower Falls. The other people from...
How did they get to and from? Did they?
Walk. I mean, those days you walked. You know, it wasn't the people that, well, first, I suppose the people that came from out of town, maybe they took the bus, or
No, the most came on the cars.
the cars.
Yeah. I think only about 2-3 they came on the bus from Walton. The others were cars.
Well, there was, that means of work, and then they could go to work over across the bridge, you know, into Wellesley. They had the factories there, they had a chocolate factory,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
I
across the
didn't
bridge.
remember.
and they had the
There was
wool.
this way. The other side, the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And then there was
And
the
then
whole
they
white
had-
car factory and the chocolate factory. I didn't.
Yeah. They
I
had,
came here, that was already gone. I didn't remember.
where the MTA station is now, they had some sort of a railroad repair place. Yeah, they had some sort of a repair place where men, you know, were able to work. But it wasn't a real up-and-coming town, but it was a nice little village. Nice, clean village. The only thing that they lacked was stores, and we still don't have stores.
No.
Where do you go?
Huh?
You have to go on Waltham or
We have to,
Avondale Star Market.
we had one store down here, and they finally wiped that out. And then we fought for another store. We tried to get them to put a store across the street where there was land, and instead they sold it to people where they could get more money, you know. That's what they were after. So we're left without a store here.
Now you feel isolated because of the development of 128 and
Sure.
Yeah.
The development isolated us. Like I said, we don't have a store. It's hard to get any place. We have the bus that only runs once an hour. And I mean, if you don't have a car, you're really out of luck. So I don't know.
how was it before the road went in? When you weren't isolated, did you
Well,
feel
of
a lot
course,
more?
we had a First National store across in Nelson. We had this little store, neighborhood store that
The Ginsburg.
Utara woman
Yeah.
that had it. It was a woman that ran it. And it was a nice little store you could go. We had the post office, and of course you didn't have. We had the buses that ran from Birmingham to Newton Corner that ran every half hour. We don't have, of course, that's not due to the development or anything like that. That's due to people with their cars. They have cars, so they don't need the public transportation anymore. So, of course, this MTA is all right for people who want to ride down there, but it's quite a walk for anybody that lives up this end to walk down there, too.
It's hard to go on work at the Riverside roller car and go on and go.
And, of course, we lost our school.
Did you attend that school?
No, it wasn't here. No. I never, and my children didn't even attend the school. When we moved up here, they were both in junior high school. But, so they took the school away from us, and now it's partly a senior citizen. I don't know whether it's low income or moderate income.
No, it's a low income.
Is it low income?
Yes, because I was talking to a couple
And
of
then
fellows.
part of the school is used for community fairs.
That's the city.
Yeah, that's the
That's
city
the
has
city of
that.
Newton.
Did any of your families attend that school?
No.
So,
Well, the school was a nice little school. It was a very nice little neighborly school. Everybody knew everybody else. They used to go to PTA meetings, and they were a close-knit bunch.
No, it's not a move out, and most of the new people
Yeah, well,
do you think
in Little Falls.
the reason a lot of people left was because of that isolation that we...
well, no, the families,
No.
the children grew up, and
They didn't choose to stay.
new ones didn't come in. Well, it was at the time when people weren't having children anymore. You know, that baby wasn't a boom, it was a, you know.
When
And
was that?
so naturally they had to close up the school. Well, I don't know whether they had to close it up, but I'll find, well, I don't know whether I'll see it, but you'll see the day when they're going to have to do something about the school here, because now there's all young people in here and they're all having children.
I say it's a lot of new people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and more,
See, the old ones are dying out.
all ones dying out, or someone move out, and it's,
Now take, for instance, my house. Now, when I decide to sell it, naturally, a young couple without any children isn't going to buy this house with 3 bedrooms. It'll be somebody with children, isn't that right? And the same way with most of these houses around here. And even her house now. Her house was a big house. She sold it. The woman, the father, has, what, 2 or 3 children?
too.
Yeah. And that's the way it's going around here. The young people are moving into the houses, but the older people are either moving out of or dying, moving away. And they're big houses and they're in good condition, and people are going to buy them with children. And they're going to need a school. What are they going to do? See, and it is, they're busing the children. I see these poor little children go by here in the morning, one little one like this with his knapsack on his back, walking down to get the bus to go to school.
Yeah, just City of Newton that's closing more and more schools.
Yeah, rain or shine, and I don't know where they bus him to school,
I don't know.
to the Angel School. Now the little one across the street, he goes to the Day Junior High School, and that's quite a ride. You know. But of course that isn't the fault of this redevelopment. That's the trend of today.
You saw it starting.
Yeah, we saw it all start. Because when we first moved here, like I said, it was a nice neighborhood. I was glad to move here, but believe me, after living here for 10 years, then my heart was broken.
How old were you when you first got there?
When I first moved here? Well, 1940. I am now going to be 83 years old in June. But that's how old I was.
Well, did you work in the area, or?
No, I never worked. I worked in the house. I had 2 children to bring up, and I had my husband, and I had the house, and that took up all my time. I never worked. I did volunteer work. I did Boy Scouts. I did brownies. I taught Sunday school. I did things like that, but I never was able to go out to work.
No, in around 1940s, when World War II rolled around, how did that affect this area? And how did that affect you personally?
What, this?
When the big war came in?
When
World War II.
redevelopment came
Yeah,
in?
I mean, were the jobs changed? Were the men gone? And
Well, no, I don't think it affected, no, I don't think it affected the work problem,
No, I don't think so.
no.
did you feel it in any community way?
Well, in what respect?
In work, in
Well,
just like the men.
now as far as housing is concerned, it didn't affect the people in Lower Falls because the people who are living in these houses that redevelopment was supposed to have built, and the apartments and things like that, they're all from outside. In fact, the school that was taken over for housing and all, I don't think there's anybody living in that building that originally came from Lower Falls. It displaced the people.
They're even from New York.
Yeah. Now the same way with this,
And same thing where
where she lives, up here on the hill.
I'm the only 2 of us
Well,
from the Lower Falls.
Carol Robinson.
Well, I'm Carol Robinson. Then from Springfield,
That's right.
from Connecticut.
They came in with the idea that it was a blighted area, and they were going to clean it up and fix it up and replace these people that they were going to take out of these blighted homes, and they were blighted homes, some of them. I don't know how to see it. Remember Izzy, or whatever his name was, up here, the Jewish man, Ginsberg.
Ginsburg. Abe.
His houses were a mess. I remember once somebody says to me, come down and I'll show you. Behind one of the houses, the people had thrown raw garbage. Not in pails or anything like that, but just thrown. Remember?
Yes.
It was a health. We had the fire chief that lived down the street, and he condemned those houses, fire purpose and health and everything else, and nobody made Mr. Ginsberg do a thing about it because he had a son who was a lawyer. I'm saying this on the tape.
These are.
I think he's got a son and a lawyer, and he's got a nephew, he's a judge.
Oh yeah, that's right too.
These were in the 1940s?
Huh?
This was in the 40s?
Before, I think.
Was it before the?
Before.
No, it was while I was here.
Oh, he was here.
I was here. And I
Well,
came
I
here.
remember, and then you was
Perhaps
here.
you remember more. So, I mean, they didn't do a thing about it, but then, like I say, I don't know, this bunch of men came in, they were going to redevelop, they were going to clean it up, they were going to put these people that were in blighted homes into decent living houses. And like she says, now she's in this building up here that was one of the ones that they knocked down. They knocked down that beautiful house that was Young's. It was at one time a stopping point from Worcester. In fact, when I first moved here, there was a carriage house in back where the people would come in there, not by automobile, but by carriage, and they'd stay there overnight, of course, put their carriages in, and then the next morning get up and go to Boston on business. That was a beautiful house.
Mhm.
There must have been 10 or 15 rooms in that house.
Yes, I think it was 15 or 16.
And it was maintained beautifully. It was right on the corner. That was one place.
Washington and Grove.
Yeah. And of course, then, like I say, we lost our little grocery store. We lost that. And, of course, next to it was a little bar room. Of course, a lot of people complained about Mary's Bar. But like I used to tell them, in my estimation, they never had any trouble down there. I never saw the policemen down there.
No, there was
But
no trouble.
the men would stop, instead they couldn't afford Woodland Country Club or Braeburn Country Club, so they'd come home from work on the bus, they'd get off and have a beer or maybe something, watch TV when TV came in, and then go home. There was no trouble. But they finally wiped her out. They put her out of business. And of course John Young he lived in the house, but he did photography, he did weddings and things like that. They wiped him out, but I think he got paid for it.
Yeah,
But
I
even
think
at
so.
that, they wiped him out. And now we're left with these barracks up in the hill. I call them army barracks, because that's what they look like. Because she lives there, but no reflection to her, because she had a lovely home down here. And
It looks like the army barracks. I
and
don't
then
like
where that apartment house is down on the other side of the street, there was a beautiful old-fashioned house. I don't know the name. When I first moved here, the name was Ebenezer.
it. Across the street, where we're waiting for the bus now?
No, right across the street from your building.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the apartment house is. And he used to have antiques. He used to sell antiques. It was a beautiful, big, old-fashioned house. In fact, when I moved here, they didn't even have electricity in that place. Don't you remember?
Next to the gas station?
Yeah, next to the fire station.
Fire station?
Down
Oh,
here.
Smith.
You remember that?
Remember Smith?
Yeah, it was a beautiful old-fashioned house. And I don't know how old that was. And of course, across the street,
17-something.
then next to the gas station, was this little house. They said it had an underground tunnel from the river to bring in the slaves. They wiped that out. And then next door to that, the building that I'm referring to now, that's still there. They didn't let them take that away from them. But then, of course, if you read this, you'll see that all the way down the street, they're here, different places, there's houses that are very, very old houses. Some of them have been, now down the end of this street, Kit Cooney's house, her kitchen had one of these old-fashioned fireplaces in the kitchen with the boiler on the side.
I think it's in a book.
Is it in here? Where you keep
My
your
house
hot water?
is in a book.
Yeah, is it?
The Dutch oven,
Yeah.
they used to be kitchen and they used
Yeah,
to be
because
separate.
since
they
they,
used to make the
yeah.
bake the bread.
We had a lot of history here. We really did. At one time they talked about making another standard village out of this. But there weren't enough people to talk up.
Was that before the 120 came through?
Well, it was since I moved here. And then another time during the war. Remember during the war? When there was a shortage of electricity and all that, energy, some engineers came up and they did a survey and it was talked about, I don't know how authentic it was, but it was talked around the neighborhood that they found that there was enough energy in those falls from the river that could have supplied this section with electricity. They never did anything about it. We had a lot of possibilities, but either nobody talked up or they got talked down. I don't know which. And of course, then when they came in with this redevelopment thing, that was a disgrace to the city of Newton to let it happen. As far as I'm concerned, that's a disgrace to the city of Newton, because it has not bettered the city one bit. Not one bit. except to put a few people that don't know how to live into homes that they never could have afforded. And after a while, you're going to see they'll do like they did in East Boston. They'll knock them down because you can't teach people new habits. If they don't want to be clean, you can't teach them to be clean. And if they don't take care of their property, it's going to deteriorate and it's going to be goodbye. So poor Sophie's going to have to suffer.
Our apartments are supposed to be 60 apartments. For the elderly, when I'm living, it's, I think 18 altogether, right? Only 5 years old. They're already, seems to me, they're falling apart.
Sure. Because they're cheaply built.
Very cheap.
Cheaply built.
Very cheap. And this is not the city, this is a private property. It's where we live, it's a private.
Well, after a certain number of years, then it would be turned over to a private owner.
Owner.
Yeah. So then the
Well, that was
would have nothing to do with it.
what they were
Because
saying,
it was
and
people like-
probably Mr. Brennan or ever is going to keep for so many years and he's going to sell to the condominium.
Well, of course, I wiped my hands up. Once I got my house back, I just sat back and tried to pick up the rest of my life. Because it was a terrible thing to put anybody through. I mean, because I'm going to tell you something now. I don't want it on tape.
No. Your family was here before.
My family never lived here.
Oh, I see.
My father just had bought this land for investment. And then put up the plant. And then, as time went on, the boys were old enough so that they carried on, but we never lived up here.
Oh, so your family moved, you
My family
yourself.
lived in West Newton. But then, he started, of course, years afterwards, he started developing this land. He had it all fixed up. He was going to have, I'll show you. I don't know how long you want to stay.
They do have so much.
It's so much. It's very,
Yes, this is old.
very.
That's why I wanted you to sit there with that table, so you could see it. Now let's spread it out. It's been really good.
Is this the lower home?
This is the land that my father, now this is, I'm gonna get my bearings too. See, this is Grove Street. Now this is Grove Street. You came up the other way, huh? All right, that's Conrad Street. There's Morton Street. All right, here, this is Colgate Road, that's across the street. So this is... Now, this right here is Grove Street. And my father owned, see, this is where the 128 Homestead.
So the cut and have sweat right
Yeah,
across
yeah. So this is Woodland Country Club over here. That's down here. And Washington Street is over here. Is it down there? The Washington Street is here. And then you come up Grove Street this way. But my father didn't know it was down here. But he owned all the rest of it. Now this is what he wanted to do. See, he had all the streets named and mapped out. Grove Street, Wetwood Road, Boston Road, Syracuse. And like I say, this would be 128 coming through,
So it cut right across everything.
cut right across. Cutting right over. So he wanted to develop all this. And that's the way he wanted to develop it, with little houses. He had it all figured out with all little, nice little houses. Well, the people in Lower Falls didn't do it. They wouldn't give him the right to every time he'd go to the city hall to have the land rezoned, they wouldn't vote for it.
And that was in 1939 when they were proposing the road. That was...
It was before that.
Was it?
Well, my father tried 2 or 3 years. After they cut him in two down there, and we found that he couldn't do all this, then people started bothering him because being on 128, they started bothering. They wanted to put. He was offered $250,000 for some land down there to build a supermarket or something and a theater, and they voted him down. So that was all right. So then later on, somebody came in and wanted to buy a piece of the land. They wanted to put in, what do you call it? Funeral home. And they voted that down. Everything he wanted to do to sell that land, they voted him down. Then along comes this group of people, and they could have put an outdoor toilet down there, and that's all they cared about. I mean, they didn't care what they were going to put in there. They just wanted to sell it to this group of people that were buying it, so that they could make some money. That's about the size of it. That's why they wanted to put it on there, because I'm talking to my half now. That's right, they put my father out of business. So what could you do? Then they came along and take my house by eminent domain. I wasn't bothering anybody here. I had a beautiful spot here, nice little hill behind me. We used to go picking blueberries
Yes,
and
I remember. I
blackberries.
used to go pick up
I'd say to the children,
blueberry and blackberry.
here's a cup, go up there and pick a cup of blueberries. I'll make you a blueberry pie, blueberry cake, and wild strawberries across the street, raspberries over there. It was beautiful. Now look what it is. At night, I have to pull my shades down the back because they put those office buildings there and they run their lights all night long. I called the man that owns those buildings more than once to tell him, you're wasting money. Who pays for the electricity? I asked him in the first place. He says, we do. Why? I said, those lights are going all night long. If you're paying for them, you're losing money. But they're no asset to the neighborhood. If I sell my house today, I won't get maybe 1/3, well, we're saying, I'll give them a little more, 2/3 of what I would if I didn't have that behind me. See, it's only 50 feet away from my property. That's all. And 50 feet away from your property isn't an awful lot.
When did that go up?
Well, that went up, 10, 15 years ago?
About 15
Yeah.
years ago.
And it's a mess. Now, another thing, instead of putting those buildings there, right behind me, why didn't they put them over near the fence, near 128, instead of shining in my face here, or in the other people next door too, and not that, but the other people next door to that, they complained that it didn't do one bit of good. Not one bit of good. If they, like I told you before, if they tried anything like that in Walden, they never would have got away with it. Never. But I have to live with it. Like I say, in fact, I had a real estate because my husband passed away. This house is really too big for me. And I did have a real estate woman. In fact, she came up, I got the things there. And she looked the house over and everything. She said, well, that's a little bit of a drawback. But she said, what can you do? Of course, next door is another big drawback. So what are you going to do? But it was so beautiful when we first here. You have no idea. I was very, very happy, and I think everybody else was happy.
Yes, yes. Now it's...
Yeah. But that was
all the big buildings are
that big thing up on the hill, and then this here.
Now, is there a church you went to?
Huh?
Did it have a church that has changed since?
the church It's on the Wellesley side, it's not changed.
Well, the church, yeah, that always was on the Wellesley side
It's
anyway.
on the Wellesley side.
Yeah, because that changes the
This is
neighborhood
Lutheran.
too, you know, I mean, but that wasn't the fault of the redevelopment.
This area doesn't have a church of its own.
No, we don't have a church here, no. And we have the library down here, and they closed that up, because I suppose people are not going to the library, I don't know, but that's down the foot of the street, that's an old fire station. And they took the library out of there and sold it. And now it's a two-family house with the cupola on the top, you know, where the bell used to be. Oh, it was a nice neighborhood. Yeah. And like I say, I never took my Girl Scouts or anything, but I understand that from the school, they used to take them to Mrs. Gregorian's house to show them the underground. Yeah. Now, I understand that there are some on Concord Street like that, too. A couple of houses on Concord Street that have the underground from the river, because the river's right down here, you know.
This is for the slaves.
For the slaves.
Slaves. Yeah, the Charles
This was quite a place where they hid the slaves at one time. Of course, that's before 1920. Yeah. But like I say, when I read this book, at one time, this section not only wasn't called Lower Falls exactly, but this whole section was used as a playground for the businessmen from Boston.
Does anybody know how old the Lower Falls?
No, does it tell you here?
I don't know. Probably should bring that.
You mentioned something about a movement that you wanted to, that a group of people that wanted to join Lower Falls with Wellesley. When did that?
Well, that wasn't too long ago. We wanted to join Wellesley. We talked about it, remember? At the PTA meetings and all that, but nothing came of it.
When was that?
It was while this redevelopment thing was going on. Because, like I say, when they put 128 through there, they cut us off. Now, see, across 128, Belmore Park section, you know where there's, I don't know whether you know this section very much, but there's a nursing home there, and then there's a little section there, we used to call it Belmore Park, I don't know what they call it now, and that extended all the way across 128 and joined in with this other land here. And now, those people there are really cut off altogether, because now they didn't want to belong to Lower Falls, and they weren't accepted in Warben because it wasn't Warben, so I don't know what they are now. But first they used to come to the PTA, the Improvement Association meetings, remember? And then they finally just isolated themselves, so I don't know where they go now, to the PTA meetings or the Improvement Association meetings. They used to come to ours, and they used to complain about that. Now, the hospital is supposed to be Newton Lower Falls, but it really isn't. It's more Warben. But the
Warben and Wellesley. It's Wellesley.
No, it's Newton Lower Falls.
It's Newton Lower Falls.
Newton Lower Falls. Yeah, same code number as we have, zip code number.
Zip code, yes.
Yeah.
It's by the same Newton and Wellesley. Newton and Wellesley Hospital.
It's Newton Wellesley Hospital, but it's a zip, the Newton Lower Falls. Yeah. So, all in all, we're just a little Pennsylvania, you know. We ought to have our own mayor. Well, we did have our own mayor for the one, because I always say he was one of the ones that was really responsible for all this, because they didn't care. I know one night I said at one of the meetings, I said, when my father came up with anything to do with the property back here, you all voted against him. I said, now they're coming in from out of the Newton, and they're coming in here and they're taking our land, not for anything pertaining to civil government or anything like that, but just as a means to sell the land and make money. That's what we caught them in that, and that's how I got my house back. They were selling the land, they were taking the land by eminent and then they were selling it to an individual.
When did you experience that?
Huh?
When did you experience that effort of the government to try? Effort of the town? Was it the town that was trying to get your house?
I can't hear you.
Was it the town that was trying to get the house?
Oh no, the redevelopment.
Oh, okay.
Redevelopment authority.
And when was that?
Well, that was, I don't know, when did redevelopment? It doesn't have it in here.
Nothing there.
No. Well, that must have been 10 or 15 years ago. So, like I say,
I think that's 15.
Yeah. I turned around and I said at the meeting, I said, when my father came up with any suggestion, I said, you people all voted against him. And one of them that I always called the mayor of Newton Falls, I said, you voted against him. She said, well, we didn't like what your father was putting in. I said, well, I don't like what they're putting in. I said, because it doesn't affect you. I said, it's all right whatever they put in there. But before, it was, they didn't want my father to put in anything. All these nice little houses, we would have had a nice little village here. Then we could have had a store. We could have had a lot of things. We would have been more of a village this way. It's not a neighborly village.
No.
It's not.
So in 1950, was it in the process of redevelopment?
Well, I moved here in 1940, I moved in here in September. Well, wait a minute.
Were you still working at the plastic factory during that time?
They're gone. They keep the buildings because it's all stone. Just somebody bought it from Wellesley. And my company, when I used to work, they moved to West Craftspersons and they bought it, building up there. Just I couldn't get there because no buses, no transportation.
The factory, where was the factory?
The name?
What was the factory? Where was it?
Now?
Yeah.
Let's say
Somebody, I don't know.
around 1959 or 1960. I think that's about when they came in, isn't it? Yeah, about that time they stepped in.
So from when you were here you were here from 1940 on, up for 20 years, it was that village atmosphere.
Oh, yes, it was a beautiful place. Beautiful place. Couldn't have asked for that. But from then on, I hate the house now. I loved it when I came up here. Oh, I thought it was the grandest thing, and such a nice neighborhood. I had nice neighbors, and although the children didn't go to school here, but they still had nice neighbors, and you can't explain it. And the people were neighborly. Now, I don't know, of course, it's the times, too, People are all working, so you don't get that neighborly atmosphere that we used to have. I mean, when I first moved here, every afternoon we'd go over to Mrs. Cooney's and sit up in the knoll there and have tea. We could look all the way over to Washington Street. Now I can't even look. All I can see when I sit out in the backyard are those messy old, and well, of course you're right on Washington Street.
I'm in Washington.
Yeah, you're right on Washington Street. But, I mean, you weren't on Washington Street when you lived down there. No, it was nice. Of course, like I say, 28 had a lot to do with it, too. But redevelopment was what could be next to us. Of course, I don't think a lot of people feel that way about it, but the ones who were hurt by it, I'm sure they feel like, of course, some of them have moved out, some of them have died.
Yeah, it's not a move out and die.
But look at now, Mrs. Brinkley, she lived up there on the hill, and she loved it up there. Her husband used to work at the hospital. He could walk over there, and they took her house, and so she was lucky she got a house down here. What was the name of that other family that lived up there that were friendly with the Yankees? McGinnis. They took their house. They had to move away out in the country because that's all they could afford. Because, I mean, it was scandalous what they were doing. My husband went to a meeting one night, and here was Mr. DiCarlo sitting up there, and my husband, spoke to him. He said, "Don't worry, Mr. He patted my husband on the back. Don't worry, you won't." The next day I got a letter from them saying, "We're taking your house by eminent domain, and we're giving you $33,500 for your house. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it." That's the way they came in. You had no alternative. But, like I say, I thought it would cost me $2,000, and I can show you the receipt for it. And like I said, my lawyer told me, he said, "Mildred," he said, "I'll take it," but he says, "You won't get it back." But I thought that I held up. You see, I have the key.
Did they do that to everyone in this area?
Well, I don't know what that.
Did
Well, there was nobody else in this area.
Nobody else was just on
There was nobody else in this
What
neighborhood.
about the houses down that way?
Well, they didn't take them. At one time, they were going to take the whole this whole side of the street, but then they decided not to. But the only houses that they took were the ones along Washington Street, and I don't know how they felt about it. Well, I know that Mary and them, Mary at the bar there, Mary's Cafe, and the store, well, of course, they fought it, but what could you do? And, of course, the other houses, both in junior high school. And they went to high school from here. And then my son went to Springfield College, my daughter went to Emmanuel College. And then they were both married from this house.
When they were growing up, they didn't go to school in Lower Falls. They
No.
didn't go to school.
No. But I mean, when you go to junior high school and high school, they had friends. We had a nice little neighbor next door that had a son. We had family across the street that had children. The Cochran's had children, so there were children in the neighborhood the same age as my children. So they didn't walk very well.
So it was a nice place to grow up.
It's a nice place for children to grow up. And I can say the people that grew up around this neighborhood all turned out good, didn't they?
Yes.
We never had any scandals in the neighborhood. I don't say just this neighborhood, but in Lower Falls. We had nice families living here. Very nice families. And they belong, of course, the Catholics belong to the church across in Wellesley. They used to meet at the Christian doctrine classes and things like that. My son was an altar boy. And then they had the Episcopal Church for the Episcopalians, and I think that's how, well, we had the Methodist Church for a while.
For a
But
while.
Well, then,
Washington.
that's another thing that they knocked down, was this nice little Methodist church. And that was an old church, too.
Very old.
Yeah.
Very old.
In fact, the house across the street there is the minister's house with the garage. They moved it up. They moved it came up this way, through and put over there. John's house. Yeah. So it was very nice. You wouldn't be ashamed to live here. Nice group of people. Good morals. Never had any trouble. Like I say, Mary's Cafe down there, but I never remember anything to do with police or anything like that. The men would go in there, have a beer. Some of them would sit a little while longer and go home. Some of them would come in after dinner and talk, And but we never had any raids or anything like that. So it was a nice place to live, and I like it now as far as that's concerned. I've missed it. That's the only thing that's holding me back from selling the house and moving out is at my age trying to get acquainted in a new neighborhood, which would be hard for me. I like people, and I'd be lonesome if I left, even though there's very few. I said, me and Mrs. Marguerite Cochran and Mary Cochran, we're the only three old ladies left on the street.
And you mentioned Miss Cochran before. Mrs. Cochran, she was here for a long time, for a while also.
Oh yes. Well, one Cochran, she's 90. Well, she's more than that, isn't she?
More than
Yeah. And the other one is my age. And then we had one lived down the end of the street, Cooley, and she just passed away a few weeks ago. And she was how old?
I think she was 95 or 6.
Yeah.
90.
She lived down on the corner street. And her
96.
house was an old house. They lived there for years. She was born and got up there.
Mm.
And then we had, on this side of the street, we had the Cooleys. They were all related. The father and mother lived in one house, and then one daughter lived next door on this side, and the other daughter lived on the other side. And they were nice families. Now, Mrs. McGilver, she was in her late 80s, and she lived here until they put her in a nursing home. It was a lovely neighborhood. Yeah, it was a very nice neighborhood. Of course, they moved out before redevelopment came in. May McGilver was still here, but
Yeah.
the rest, no.
Yes, you know.
So that's what redevelopment did to Newton Lower Falls as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not ashamed to say that it wrecked Lower Falls. It really did. And especially the people that were, well, I don't know how these are, well, I know that even Marion Rankin, of course, I think she's happy now, but it was quite a disappointment to her to have to move out of her house that she lived in for so long, and then have to come down here and get used to a different neighborhood. And of course, like I say, her husband used to work over at the hospital. He used to be able to walk right down there. This way, it's a little further walk, and as you grow older, you don't feel like walking now. Well, that's what we can tell you about Lower Falls.
If you don't mind me asking, you were here in the 1920s, 1927, 1928. Now that's during the years of the Depression and all that. Now, how?
Well, I can't tell you much. I'm going to tell her and she's able to. What do you like to know?
But you were here before me. You were here
Yes,
in
I know.
1920.
How was
What was
Lower?
it like in 1920?
That's what I say. Well, Lower Falls was nice.
Was the work different?
Well, there was more factories. There was a factory
Right across the bridge.
right across the bridge on Washington Street. There was some kind of woolen factory. Wool. Then there was a paper mill.
Did people find it hard to find work in those times?
No,
No,
Not even Depression?
no,
we
No.
didn't have any unemployment.
no.
Not when I moved here. I don't know about you.
Then even it was very easy.
Yeah,
It was plenty job
yeah.
in this little Lower Falls because little tiny Lower Falls, and they had too many factories. They have that woolen factory and a paper mill.
Did people come in from other places?
Yes.
Well, now, you
I
know where the,
think so.
where the bank used to be? That was a little mill. What
Yeah.
was that?
Was the Gregorian have the Oriental rugs? There
Yeah.
used to be a paper mill.
Paper mill.
Yes. That little, with the bank,
Wasn't there a
I
button?
don't remember.
Wasn't there a
what-
button factory or something
Maybe,
up
I
there?
don't remember. Then the other side of Charles River, there was another woolen
Yeah, that's
factory.
Newton too.
It was Newton. Then
Yeah.
there was that plastic
Yeah.
factory, Mr. Gullickson bought it. I was working. There was plenty jobs. It was just the people was coming from trouble. I don't remember, maybe from Walton or Newton. I know there was few colored fellow was working for West Newton.
And then, like I said before, you don't remember, but I remember down behind the MTA station down there, there was a a freight yard or something where people used to go, men used to go to work, that they worked on
Do you remember?
engines, locomotives and things like that. They used to come in there. And they used to do a lot of repair work there.
I don't know. Do you remember how long the coal yard was here?
The what?
A coal yard in oil.
Oh yeah, they're right there.
How long? Because I came like
Well, it was there when
it was already.
Yeah.
They had a coal yard
Yeah,
there.
when I came, it was
My
a coal yard.
husband was working, was driving the
Yeah.
coal truck.
Mhm. There was a coal yard right there. It's like I say there, the shuttle train used to come in from Riverside
So it was,
and right near the coal yard there.
yeah.
That's why that coal yard was there. And then they wiped that out too. Of course, I don't blame them in a way.
Yeah.
And they took up the railroad track. But it's just, you'll laugh, because I always remember going to church in the morning and going down Washington Street. And of course, the shuttle train used to come in from Riverside down into the little square we have down there. And the engineer would be standing out in the street and be saying, "Come on, Mary, come on, Margaret, come on." And of course, when he knew everyone that was going to get on that train to hook up with the main line. And of course, then when the last one got on, then he'd wave to the engineer, to start the train, and off they'd go, just like something you read in the book. But it was so nice, you get there in the morning, and then of course we'd go down here to the Pine Grove Avenue, and there was a little cubby hole there, and the train I used to be able to take, I think it was 9-something train there, the shuttle train, and go to Riverside and get on the train, go to Boston, and then I'd take, I think there were 2 trains in the morning, and 2 in the afternoon, and then I'd come home on the afternoon train. No trouble at all to go into Boston.
I believe it's slow.
Didn't you ever go on
I
the
never,
train?
no.
No?
No.
You know Pine Grove?
Yes.
Well,
I
on the
remember
left-hand
the train.
side, that little...
I never.
Well, I
was in
did.
a car.
Yeah. I used to walk down
or
there.
Take the bus.
Yeah, I used to walk down
never
there,
Get
on the
I never
train.
went on the train. Yeah.
and I had a pass. You bought a pass
Yeah.
for the month, and it was grand. You'd get out in town, the South Station, and you'd walk uptown. It was wonderful. The other way, until they put the MTA station there, you'd have to go down here, take the bus, go down to Newton Corner, and take the trolley into Boston. No.
Just now I like much better Global Falls, Woodland Station, Riverside Station, that's the furthest, or if you're coming from Boston, the call last. Just the Riverside Station you can walk, then Woodland Station, the other side Newton Hospital, you can walk or you can take the bus.
That's not
I
bad.
like much better.
You do?
Much better.
Yeah, well,
But the
see-
years ago we go in a trolley car or take the bus.
Well, see,
It's
for
very
me,
easy, very quick you can go to
well,
Boston.
because you're right on the main line, the
I was
bus
on the
line.
right on the main,
Yeah. But see, I'm away up here. This is quite a walk for me.
yeah.
At my age, to walk down the MTA
Yeah.
station. And when they first started that station there, I used to be able to take a taxi for 50 cents to go from here down there. And when I'd come home, I'd either call my husband, he'd pick me up, or I'd take a taxi. Now I think it's $1.50 to go down there by taxi. And of course I'm not
The
supposed
bus
to climb the
costs
hill.
$1 now.
Huh?
The bus, Framingham bus costs $1.
It's a
For the
dollar?
senior citizen.
Senior
$1.
citizen too? Yeah. See, 'cause
Did you find yourself going into Boston often?
I used to.
I do.
Yeah, I used to go a couple of times a week, yeah.
Did you, during those years that we were talking about, did you find yourself going in there just as often?
No.
Well, I think she travels more than I do, because she doesn't have to climb a hill. I have to climb the hill, so I don't go out, travel so much. But she's right on the bus line,
Right, on the bus
across the
line.
street, and she's on the bus. She goes all the way to Chelsea.
Yes.
You visiting?
No. Just, I take the down Woodland trolley car, and I don't know if you know, you can go to Haymarket. It's a
yeah.
government center. And then next it's Haymarket. Then I get off there and I take the bus. Go to Chelsea.
Where did you?
It's very easy. Go over the bus going over the bridge. And, you ever been in Chelsea?
Yes.
And go to Broadway.
I used to go to Chelsea every day when my husband was over at the Naval Hospital. Every single day. I go
How you
down.
used to go? How you used to go to
I used to go down there and take the trolley, and I'd get off at Leechmere. Not Leechmere, North Station.
Oh, North Station.
And then I'd take the rapid transit to Charlestown and go downstairs and take the bus across the bridge to the hospital there. I'd get off right down the end of the ramp, you know, the bridge, down the end of the ramp there. I used to get off there and go up the hill to the Naval Hospital.
Seems to me they spoiled the little falls. Just I like Boston much better now. Quincy Market. You ever been to Quincy?
And the North End, I like the North End. In fact, my son said today he's going to take me to the North End after Easter.
I love it.
I love it.
Did you not spend as much time as you do now in Boston when you did then? Did you spend more time
I
there?
have more time. Spend more time.
Did you go there? Did you go into Boston during the weekends? And did that kind
I used to go during the week. I used to go a couple of times during the week. And that's all. Now I go when my son takes me into the North End to go to do our shopping.
Just now, years ago, you can go to Boston, even nighttime, you can walk all over, nobody bothers you. Now, if you pay me, I won't go at nighttime. Park, Common Park and street up there.
When I think of
I'm
how
afraid.
I used to come home.
Never pray. I used to go on everywhere. Tremont Street, Washington Street, School Street, all the streets. Now, that's what I said, the pay me go.
Well, even when you're coming
afraid.
in from Chelsea and you go into the subway there, I used to get off at Haymarket sometime. I say, well, I'll go down the North End, do a little shopping. Now when I think of it, when I hear all the things, why? I wouldn't dare do that now. All by myself, I'd get off at Haymarket and there'd be nobody in the subway.
You have to be
Somebody
very
would
careful.
come down and kill me. Nobody
Not
would
up
know.
in Cambridge, too.
Yeah. Well, I never used to go
Afraid
to
more
Cambridge.
Go to Cambridge and Boston. I'm just,
Is that where you did most of your shopping?
No. I mean, I do most of my shopping at Hanscom Air Base anyway. But once in a while, I used to do my clothing shopping in town, either there or Waltham. I liked Waltham.
I
Oh,
like
well,
Waltham.
I mean,
Now
for that
it's
matter.
not a store, it's like Natick Mall.
But for us, it was easier to go to Boston than it was to go to Waltham or to Wellesley. It was easier to go down and get on the MTA and go to Boston. You had a better choice of stores. But you couldn't do your grocery shopping in town unless you had a car, and I don't drive, she doesn't drive. But, so you have to depend upon going to your local. The
I
nearest,
like Quincy Market.
yeah, you like Quincy Market?
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. Now the nearest grocery store we have is the Star Market in Auburndale. We have the little convenience store down here, but
Well,
it's awful dirty looking. It's not, it doesn't look very sanitary to me.
the Star Market in Milton View. Wellesley.
Yeah.
Star Market.
Well, see, you can get on the bus to go to the
Yes.
Star Market. Yeah. But I could do the same thing, but then it's coming home trying to carry my bundles up the hill.
Yeah.
So. But it would have been nice if we had a nice old market here.
We
Where
should
Shipley
have,
is.
we should have a
The building was
market.
there.
We should have a store.
Remember there was that building?
Even when you were,
Huh?
even when it was before the redevelopment, there wasn't a market.
There was no market there, no. There was a market, yes, on this side of the street. There was a nice little market. A Jewish man owned the building, and he had a nice little market. In fact, he had beautiful meat. His groceries and all were a little more expensive. And then we had, across the bridge, we had First National. But now we don't have that down there anymore.
We've got a long time.
Yeah. So we were really, like I say, and then of course they took knocked that building down, so the grocery store had to close up. They were ready to close up anyway.
Yes, yes.
Avie was getting old, and he delivered. So if you couldn't, he delivered. But of course, a lot of the people couldn't shop there. His prices were a little more expensive. But his meat, he had beautiful meat, beautiful. Now, if I was out without milk or bread, unless I could call my son or my daughter-in-law or something like that, I'd have to walk down to the convenience store way down there. Well, anyway, did you get enough?
I sure did. You're fantastic.
You wanna get
How did World War II? How did that affect you personally? That
in fact us personally? Well, we'll have to stay in a line after the butter. I don't know if you probably did. I
For me?
did. It's me.
Yeah.
I remember Blanche's mother died. They said, oh, those Kennedy's store have a butter.
Yeah.
It was a Kennedy's. We took the bus, we went to Walton. We was in a very big line. We was waiting in the winter time. Came almost to the door. The guy locked the door, the butter's gone, no butter.
that happened often?
Well, yes.
I mean, just the lines and the rest.
The Lions, it was, I don't know, many times, it was many times. Then, I say, let's to go to Boston, go to market, get some meat. Well, there was no meat. You remember we have a little, like a little card? So
You had a
like
card.
little book.
Yeah, you had every
They
grown-up
give us
men
from the
that
city
lived in the
hall
family had a card.
a card.
You were allotted just so much meat
Yeah, allowed.
a month.
Well, who had a family, children, they got more meat
Yeah.
and more sugar. We didn't. That's why I didn't have enough, those coupons, so, for the meat.
Did anyone from your family serve in the Navy?
No. That's why I didn't have enough money to those tickets buy meat or sugar.
Well, now
Your brother-in-law was very good to me, whoever.
Who?
No, Angel.
Oh, Angelo, yeah.
He
He was good to me,
He
too.
was very good to me.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a
they
little-
call like a black market.
Yeah.
Just, I used to get the chicken. Just there was...
Well, chicken you could get without the
It
coupons.
was hard, it was
Yeah,
hard.
chicken
And
you could
after
get.
the war, after the Second World War, there was in the paper, tons and tons they was throwing the butter in the
It got
ocean.
rancid
Spoiled.
in the storehouses.
What happened?
Well, they weren't,
The butter got
I don't know, they were holding it back, I don't know why, I think to make the price
They
go up, I
probably was
don't know why.
thinking the war was going to
But
be
then after the
longer.
war, and then besides that, I understand that after the war, then they were giving it to these people that were on welfare. They didn't call it welfare in those days, they called it Mother's Aid. And they give them so much groceries, for a week. And they give them the main staples. They give them butter, they give them eggs. I don't think they give them meat though. Flour, tea or coffee or something like that. Cornflakes, cereal, you know, if you had children. And then they give them the butter, because I know that it was talked about down where my sister lived. This woman that used to be on this Mother's Aid, she used to go around to her friends and bring them great big oranges. I used to pay $1 a dozen for oranges at that time, and she used to get these great big oranges, and she was getting so many she didn't like them, she didn't enjoy them. She'd bring them to her friends, and butter. And we couldn't get the butter. I went twice to stand in line, and twice I get there, and then so I gave it up.
Many times I was standing in a line in the winter time. I didn't get butter.
And of course my husband was in the
so many
service.
pounds or half a pound, and that's it.
My husband was in the service, and he was overseas, so I didn't have his coupons. There was just two of us, Rita and I, here. When my husband would come home on leave, I'd have to feed him, but I had no coupons. So Enzo used to help me out once in a while, and my brother-in-law that worked in town, he had a tavern in town, and he knew some people down the Quincy Market. Wasn't Quincy Market like it is now, it was a wholesale market there. He knew some people down there, and he was able to get me some meat when my husband would come home. Then my son went into the service, so there was just the two of us with coupons. So you really, I don't think I had butter for a long time. I don't like butter anyway.
Me either. There was my neighbor, she was buying the Crisco, and the little tiny envelope,
to color it.
And orange, and she mixed it and make it so like a butter.
I tried that once, I remember it smelled so, so I never, because now the margarine isn't bad.
I suppose they were saving, the government was saving the butter and sugar and meat. Just after the war, tons and tons.
Plenty of it.
There was thrown in the ocean because the butter was in the
Gosh knows what they were doing with it.
oil or something. I don't know.
Well, I didn't try to fight the thing because, like I say, what was the use? I didn't have a car. I couldn't go from one store to the other. I had to just try to go to one store. And then my son, when he was going to high school, he got a job at the First National Store in Newtonville. And when the butter would come in, the people that worked in the store would get 1/4, it was 1/4 of a pound of butter. They'd give it to them without a coupon. So I had enough for them, butter for them. But and eggs, of course I had an egg man, and I had plenty of eggs, and I had plenty of chicken. But you get so tired of eating chicken that you felt like you were start flying. We lived through something, and something, there was no welfare, no low-income families. They just had what I just mentioned before, Mother's Aid. And they were well treated. I remember there were a couple that lived over here, over on Washington Street, and they used to get so much coal for because they just had a kitchen stove, they didn't have heaters, They'd get enough coal for and you had to count your coal when you put it in, make sure you didn't waste one. And so the groceries for a week, according to how many in the family. They didn't starve to death. Of course, they didn't live on banquets, but they didn't starve to death. No. Now these people on welfare, they're having banquets. With those coupons that they give them, I see them, they don't do that over the Hanscom Air Base. When they come in with the coupons, anything that you're not supposed to buy, they put to one side. And otherwise, if you don't have enough coupons to pay for them, they don't let you buy them with the coupons, in fact. You can buy just the necessities with the coupons. And the rest of the stuff you have to pay for yourself. If you can't afford them, they won't let you buy them, like potato chips, ice cream, and steaks and things like that. You're only supposed to have hamburgers and hot dogs on that. But some of the stores, I've seen people that I know that had to use coupons. And it's candy and ice cream and potato chips and all that stuff. Well, that's not fair. When I remember Harriet, do you remember Harriet when she lived up there in the building? Yeah.
Yes.
She said one day she was having a cup of tea with one of her neighbors, and the worker came in and saw them both sitting down having a cup of tea. And they said, you're on Mother's Aid, you're not supposed to be entertaining people. She says, well, we have 2 cups of tea with 1 tea bag. She said, well, regardless, you're not supposed to be entertaining. That's the way. Now they live high off the hog, these people on welfare. Well, I don't know whether you see it, but I can't afford what they have. But what can you do about it?
When during that time in Lower Falls, did you see a lot of were there a lot of people hunting?
No. We didn't see anybody wanting. No, they lived good. Everybody lived good. The ones on welfare lived better than the others that I had to account
They
for.
do. They do, yeah.
We had welfare recipients living in Lower Falls. We still have them, some of them. But they lived good. I don't know of anybody that was starving.
No, they live good.
And in terms of when the war was really in the middle, was there the jobs that you were talking about, the factories? Were they looking for men, and did the nature of the jobs change because the men were gone?
Well, I think a lot of women went to work during the war.
Yes.
You know, to take the place of the men.
Was that very obvious in this area?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so.
I
No,
don't think so.
it wasn't. I think you might have found it other places, but I don't think so. No, there wasn't that much of a change. So people
No.
said, "Well, gee, my husband had to go to war, and so I had to go to work." No, the ones that went to work went willingly. They knew they had to go. And I don't think they were putting anybody out of a job. Or even when the men came back, I don't think that the men found it hard to go back. No, I don't think that it affected. Not around here anyway. I don't know. Maybe in the cities you might have seen it. Of course, it never affected me. I've always said I was very, very fortunate. My husband was a Navy man. And even during the Depression, when we were living in California, now that's where I saw, they had, we'd go downtown, and there'd be different places where they'd have a place where they'd go for milk and another place where they'd go for bread. And one day I took my 2 children down, and they wanted to know what they were there for, because the ones that were going for milk, they had to bring their own containers. They wanted to know what they were for, so I told them, I said, well, those people, very poor people, and the government helps them out, so they're coming here for either it was the bread line or the milk line. Well, you know, the 2 children, they started to cry. They couldn't understand people being in war. But I saw them in California. That was during the Depression. And of course, at that time, my husband was in the Navy. It's the first time in the history of the United States Navy that the Navy took the cut. That was under Hoover. You don't remember Hoover. Herbert Hoover. And he cut the Navy pay. And we were very fortunate that where we lived, the little house that we lived in, the landlord heard about it. We didn't tell him anything about it, but he heard about it. And he came the first thing, he said, "I'm reducing your rent $10. He says, "because I know about the 10% cut that you can." So he was good to us. But I never saw any of that here.
Yeah.
During the Second World War, or anything like that. Like I said, we were in California at the time of the Depression. I don't know what they did here. What did they do here at the time of the Depression? Were you here?
I don't know, because my husband was working, I was working a little bit, and I was saying depression. I didn't even know what depression.
You didn't realize
I
that?
didn't realize because,
You didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it. We're paying the rent just only
And the people around
$25 a
you,
month. And we have plenty of food. And a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, suffer." I say, "What? What is it?" And there was no depression for me.
Well, like I say, thank goodness I didn't witness any of that either. We were very fortunate. Like I said, the biggest blow in my life was when redevelopment came into Lower Falls. That has always been a heartache for me.
I wonder if they're going to change someday something else they're going to put it here.
What can they change?
I don't know, maybe they're going to find it something. Maybe they're going to knock the rest of all those houses down. I don't know. What they're going to...
When that war ended,
Huh?
when World War II ended, was there any kind of celebration in this park?
No.
No.
No,
Because by that time,
No.
as far as this little section up here is concerned, there was the people were beginning to get antagonistic
To what?
to each other. Because I go to these meetings, and like I tell them, when my father tried to get things in here, he was going to make such a beautiful place. You people sat back. Now you're all up here, and there's not a soul. There's nobody in the neighborhood that came and helped me out. I had to fight this thing out all by myself. They needed this land, so they didn't care that they were going to throw me out. In fact, I almost had a breakup with my nice neighbors across the street over there. Because they used to go to these meetings, but they never spoke up for me, try to keep me here. I tried to buy a piece of land across the street there, which now has nothing but wood on it, and to build a small house because the children were married and away, and of course I was getting old, and my husband was very sick, and going back, and he had 12 or 15 major operations, and all I was doing was running back and forth to the Naval Hospital. I wanted to get rid of this big house and build a little house over there. They wouldn't let me do it. They sold it to this Jewish man. What's his name now? Well, anyway, he lives there, and because he didn't want anybody to. He didn't want a house next door to him that would look down on him. So now it's an empty lot over there, and I could have used that. I could have built a nice little house, and then I wouldn't have this big ark of a house. But they didn't help me. They helped him when he wanted to buy it, so he could keep it empty. We all went to. In fact, I was one of the foolish people that went down to the meeting and let him buy it for $2,000. That nice piece of property, because he wanted it empty. Now it's full of leaves and wood over there. That's all. I hope that wood gets filled with what do you call those bugs that termites and crawl down the hill into his house and eat his house up. Every time I think of it, I say, well, now I could have been on one floor. I wouldn't have to be running up and down stairs. So I don't know. So that was a big thing in my life. That was World War II in my life. So I don't know what they're going to do with all this.
This is going to be such